Okay, Grand Rising, everyone. I hope you had a great week. This is Ron. It is Saturday morning, a little after 10 a.m., and it's already August the 2nd. How about that? So, again, I hope you had a good week. We'll start off today, see if we have some questions. Kathy Neal, are you on the line today?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Before I see if we have any questions from anyone else, I'd like to start off with your question, please, since it's where we left off Monday evening. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Go ahead and Pastor's on the line, and go ahead and ask your question, and we'll get started.
Okay. Good morning, Pastor. Um, I think week before last, I can't remember if it was on a Saturday or Monday, but you were talking about. I remember exactly what I was talking about, but you were saying there was no such thing as ghosts. And I don't know if you recall where I sent you that picture of my cousin saying that saw this woman in her living room. And so I sent it to Ron, and I say, well, if there are no such thing as ghosts, what would you call this image that she saw in her living room? So I sent it to Ron and told him to send it to the rest of the teachers to see what they thought about the woman that was standing right in front of her chair, but she wasn't standing like on her feet. It was like she was floating in the air.
Okay. Um, First of all, when I think about ghost carries negative connotations because that word was used to to strike fear in the black folks. And that is the reason the Ku Klux Klan wore white robes with pointed hats on it. And their purpose was to instill fear because they've always said that black folk are scared of ghosts. And what if there's anything that we see, it's an apparition of an ancestor. I don't use that term ghost. And when I say I don't believe in ghosts, I don't believe that there is any apparition of anything that strikes fear to us. And I don't use the word ghost because it is designed to instill fear. I use the word an apparition or a sighting or a visitation from the ancestors. Now, as far as she is concerned, the question is, what did she feel about that? Did she recognize it? I don't know what that was in terms of her feel. I don't know what her feelings were, and at the moment that she saw that. Does that make sense to you, Kathleen?
Well, when she saw it, she called me because she said nobody was going to believe her but me. And so when she started telling me what she was seeing, she said it's just standing there and it's just looking. And I said, if y'all hear noise in the background, that's Camila now with her iPad. She said that she was just standing there. Like I said, standing. She said the woman is actually floating in the air. You know, her body wasn't moving, but she said she was still. And I said, where is it scaring you? And she said, no, but the two people that was in the room, one of them ran out. The other one stayed in there. And said, no, it's not scaring me. She said, I'm just going to sit here and see what it do. She said, I'm going to take a picture. And I said, is it going to let you take a picture? Is it, moving as when you try to take the picture? She said, no. She said, it's just still standing there in the air, floating in the air. So she snapped the picture. She said, I'm going to send it to you. And when she snapped it, that's when I saw it. And it stayed there a long time, but I done went to bed, so I don't know at what point it left the room. But she didn't fear, but one of them in the house would have did.
So did she recognize it?
No, because to me it looked like a white person. And the house, I told you belonged to Johnny Little, but I don't know if the house was actually his back in the day, or he bought the house and had it sit there. I know the house was moved from one location to there where Sam was renting it from. And he did a little remodeling on the house, but I don't actually know if it belonged to him or not.
Okay. Well, there have been reports of people who move into houses and they begin to have apparition of the people who once lived in the house or in that area or on that piece of land. So that very well could have been an apparition of something of that sort. There also, well, it is no different than if you get a transplant, you can very easily take on the portion of the personality of the person who the organ came from. So that is common. So I don't actually again I don't use the term ghost for the reasons that I've stated previously.
Okay, I wonder why the eyes look like they look.
I have no clue.
Uh-huh.
I have no clue. I don't have a clue as to why it was dressed like it was or why it was there at all. Only thing I can say about that is, excuse me, there have been reports of people appearing in places where they once lived or what property that they once owned. But beyond that, I don't know.
And she was going to Quincy Moore, which Quincy Moore was Johnny Little's daughter. She was going to go to her and ask her, did she know anybody that maybe that was dressed in that dress resemble somebody in the family, but she never got that because she passed away. But she would see black men, like African men with the haircut short. She would see them in the kitchen frying bacon on the stove. She would smell it first, and then when she go in the kitchen and look, she would see him. She would see him standing there, and he would have on those cotton shirts, that you used to wear back in the day, and the coveralls. He would have that on, and he'd just be there like he's cooking bacon on the stove and flipping it. And she'd look at it, but she didn't get a picture of him. She just described him to me. But she
Well, excuse me. The best thing I can say about that, it appears as though she was sealed, and things appeared to her. But for what purpose, I have no clue. I don't.
Okay.
That's all. That's all I got. Nicholas.
Okay. What did the other teachers think?
Nick.
Good morning, everybody. This is Nick. Yeah, I saw the picture as well, and I just wanted to respond to in a case where there's many many things that we could see, but in the case where, for example, something appears before you, a lot of times that's where a lot of people say or believe they've been visited, and the being is like a light being, or it appears that, for example, in the picture, if that's the one where the eyes are white, it has to do with the nature of the energy of the being and how that energy is sort of displayed when it comes into the physical or material realm of experience. So it's kind of like, we say eyes are windows to the soul. This sort of fundamental nature of the soul is light. So when something from a higher dimension, higher for lack of a better term, makes an appearance here in our regular material consciousness, it can appear as something that is very bright or light, because that is closer to the true nature of the spirit or consciousness. And there's a lot more to that sort of metaphysically, but when we see the eyes that are shining, it's because the light that is the image of the apparition is like a cloak that is shielding the true nature of the soul, which is more akin to a bright shining light that ultimately is formless, but may take on form as it comes, closer to this material experience for whatever reason. And so that's sort of one type of thing you could see. The second thing is perhaps more akin to like if she sees a vision of a man frying bacon in the in the kitchen. That could be someone who, like I said, there's many things it could be, but like, I would say more likely it is someone who has passed on from this physical experience, but does not necessarily know what has happened. Or and that means basically they're just going about their routine, but on another plane. And so if we encounter that, or we have the ability to perceive that, that might be what we're seeing. And again, there's much to unpack metaphysically and spiritually there. It could also be I believe it's possible for us to see kind of like an echo. Or, for example, if somebody made bacon every single day for years and years and years, the same way, the same spot, it's possible for us to see a sort of reflection of that energy because of the repetition and the intention that was behind it. So it's a little bit like you throw a stone in a pond and you see the ripples come off the stone on the surface of the pond. That man in the kitchen frying bacon may have been a ripple in spirit or in energy of someone who did something like that many, many, many times, and therefore created a sort of, you can think of like an energy or spirit hotspot because of their dedication to doing the same thing. And again, there's much to unpack there metaphysically and spiritually, but could be a variety of things. We do have the ability, just in general, to perceive those things that are beyond this material or physical realm of perception and experience, of course. And as for what it is, why it was there, those are, things you can't necessarily know from an image, but the person experiencing them would have to do their best to examine their own experience and their own sort of interaction with those things. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Appreciate the explanation, guys. Anyone else?
Hey, Ron, let me ask Kathy, is does that help her?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I was just curious what everybody else thought. Because Charles said he was going to pray about it because he was really interested in, what it was, too. So I was just wondering what the other thoughts were. But, yeah, that was helpful.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Thank you, Kathy. Any other questions, anyone?
That was a video I wanted to play for us this morning. It's only about 1 minute and 26 seconds, I think.
Okay.
Sheldon, are you on?
Yes, I need to take a few seconds for me to pull up the computer to play it.
Okay.
Sheldon,
In the
shall I make
meantime-
you,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Sheldon, shall I make you co-host or host?
Yes. Thank you.
When you could do that, or when I go to share, just give me the ability to share. It'll come off as a request.
Okay.
In the meantime, this video speaks to what we have been talking about feminine energy and masculine energy. It gives us, in a nutshell, of what we've been talking about in regards to the female and the male cohabitation and the purpose for each one being who they are and the responsibilities of each one from a spiritual perspective. And after we have listened to it, I would like to see if there are questions or comments in regards to it. So when Sheldon is ready, you go right ahead, okay?
We're gonna do.
So we don't have so much dead space. Are there any other questions while Sheldon is working on that? Or about anything, quite frankly? I will say this, the discussion that you guys had on Monday about Nimrod and what that means, I think it was extremely interesting and maybe something that we will revisit. One of the reasons being, as Ron put it, Audrey discovered something, and discovered was the original name, a meaning rather, of Nimrod, which lends a lot of light to
Babel.
what it
Of
means.
of Babel, Pastor.
I'm sorry, of Babel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not here to be submissive, goddess. You are here to be respected. You are here to be honored. You are here to be grateful in presence. See, when it all said and done, we as the masculine are here to protect your entire existence with our entire being. I say, mind you, in return of reciprocity, you come to be our protector and protect our soul. I say, not our existence. Protect our soul. Well, why she just protect the soul? Because so that you can protect her existence. She protects your soul so that you can protect her existence. She makes sure you are whole. She makes sure that you are whole. So when it's time for you to protect her existence, you are going to be the bomb. You shall not lose. Because she has strengthened you. She has made you whole. So she know when you protect her, she got it. I know what I created. I know what I built. Nothing can touch me. The God won't let nobody touch me. You're here to protect her existence. Why are you protecting her existence? Because nothing exists without her. I say.
Thank you for sharing that, Sheldon. Are there any questions or comments about this? Or did you understand what was being said?
I'm sorry, go ahead, Nick.
I was just gonna say, yep, I understood, and I have comments, but I wanted to wait for other people first.
Okay, great. Are there any comments from anyone else? Well,
Yeah, the first thing I thought about when I heard it earlier this week, and I made the comment, I don't know if I said anything or not, but the first thing I thought about was Genesis when it talked about beginning and creation and help meet, meaning to surround and protect, to hedge in and protect, and even to stand against and oppose on some things. And that kind of made that a little clearer to me, uh, just pulling that all together. Uh, the protecting part, if that it talks about the feminine part does is very spiritual and not meaning anything physical at all. But that's what came to my mind.
thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Grand Rising, everyone. This is Audrey. The thing I thought about is when he said she protects your soul, it made me think about the very essence of Ma'at, and what those sayings and laws mean. So if you are rooted and grounded in that, then that is what protects your soul. anyway, that's what I had.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, just my thoughts on that. It's the sort of instinctive recognition of a harmonious archetype of the relationship between the masculine and feminine as it exists in the earth. So masculine and feminine being spiritual principles, males and females being manifestations in some form of those principles. And then that man was talking about the relationship between men and women, or the masculine and feminine. I believe that comes through a more sort of instinctive and harmonious connection to the source or the creator, in that source informs our harmonious interaction, one that is intended for spiritual evolution and to allow for spiritual evolution to continue. So it just seems like that is, to me, a recognition of a more correct, well, perhaps for lack of a better term, more correct way for the masculine and feminine to interact based on an instinctual remembrance of the sort of harmony of creation that is inherent to this earth realm experience when it is in a state of balance. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, this is Sheldon here. Just, I guess, very quickly, as an example, what I believe embodied. Many years ago, Pastor Richard talked about women being in the military, and he was actually talking about it.
Say that again, Sheldon.
He was talking about, let me just put you on speaker. Hold on.
Yeah.
Can you hear me fine now?
Yes, sir.
I was saying many years ago, Pastor Richard was talking about women being in the military, and there's kind of a very misogynistic way that generally the public has looked at that, in terms of, we just don't want women in the military because women are weak and they should just let men be masculine and do masculine things, etc. You know, the idea that she just needs to, the woman needs to cook, stay home, etc. What Pastor Richard was actually talking about was something coming from a totally different place. We was talking about women being protected, and that the woman needed to being protected had nothing to do with them not having the strength to protect themselves, but it was more so of the importance of them, in the same way one might try to protect a child, as if this is the thing. You think of like a beehive, and you think about the queen bee, and you think about all of the honeybees, for the most part, working on behalf of the queen. The queen is, you know, the thing that is held up in high esteem, in sense, because they know and understand that for everything to function, that woman needs to be able to play her role, and they depend on her. This is in the same way what the guy was actually expressing in the video, in terms of honoring and knowing this particular thing is important. We don't want this thing to be wasted. So my job is to protect and provide for this particular, I keep saying thing, but for lack of a better word, thing, so that this thing can be there for me and take me where I need to go. I need that particular thing. I honor it, I cherish it, I hold it in high esteem. And that also allows her to be able to concentrate on what it is that she is here to do in the same way. That was just quickly what I took away from it. It means a lot more, though, as Nick just alluded to, of course. I'm done.
I guess listen to everyone's comments on it and what they how they see this and what they feel. In all the years past, we have sort of survived, the masculine and feminine, it sort of survived together, and I think now that we under beginning to understand these things from a whole different place, how much more powerful will these things be when we understand what roles the masculine and feminine play together, and understand what balance really looks like, how much more can be accomplished.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Ron, what I just thought about just now, what he did was typically in Western society, we just looked at the physical and looked at the physical traits and what essentially someone physically was able to bring to this life, to this physical world. But what he broke down and what we've been expressing for a very long time and talking about is going just beyond the physical and seeing the spiritual as well, and putting the woman where she should be put, and recognizing, but not only just putting her and recognizing there in words, but also in our hearts and in practice. I'm finished.
Yeah.
Anyone else? When I first heard it, the first thing came to my mind was this is an extremely clear synopsis of what we have been talking about in regards to femininity and masculinity, not only from a spiritual perspective, but also from a physical perspective. And one of the things that we talked about a lot was the disrespect that males had for females, and we also talked about the necessity of masculinity of males changing how they treat females, and we talked about the origin of it. So when I heard this, what I was hearing was the womb. From the womb came both the physical and the soul, and when you look at the period of time that the child spends with the mother, in terms of the nurturing and the molding, this is a physical manifestation or representation of being a protector or a molder of the soul. And when we were interrupted in a violent way, and masculinity began to overtake everything, simply because it had brute strength, not understanding that brute strength is the weakest kind of strength that you can have. And I saw this as an expression of the power and strength of femininity of the female, and at the same time, how they work together, masculinity and femininity. Up to this point, especially in our communities as Africans, the female has played both roles, the protector as well as the protector of the soul, as well as the protector of existence. And that is the burden that the female has had to carry, and it has gotten to a place where females are beginning to take on masculinity, and I'm not talking about lesbians. That's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm not talking about sexuality at all. I'm talking about there was a time when females were not in gangs. There was a time. There was a time um, when females were not brutal, and now we read or we see images of how that shift is beginning to take place with femininity. It is no surprise to me that we are at this space where we are beginning to put things back in order. If we were not doing that with the creativity and the power of that femininity, if that femininity was allowed to dominate while it is projecting masculinity, the whole world would be destroyed because there is no force that can withstand it. Therefore, it was imperative and is imperative that masculinity runs its course. And the course of masculinity is being seen in the chaos that we encounter every day, whether it's imagery or reading. And the origin of this dominant masculinity came from uh, those with a European mindset, and and that mindset cannot be allowed to dominate African femininity. As I said, that is extremely destructive, and no force can stand against it. So, the creator of everything that is allowed the space for us to get to where we are. It appears to be damnable and destructive when in reality, what we see as being destructive with our eyes is actually constructive because it is deconstructing this world of masculinity. Every empire that has been that has been dominant in the earth has failed, especially when there was masculinity at the helm of it. So right now we are experiencing in this space of Cabelon that is called America. What we are experiencing is a resurgence of femininity. We are experiencing a resurgence of the power of the female to protect the souls of all of us. And we are also experiencing a resurgence in males who are recognizing and embracing the effect of the God who brought all of us into existence, especially when he made reference to the God, he was referring to the female, and he was referring to the female having created everything in this earth. Those of masculinity to do what is expected of us in terms of protecting the existence of the females slash femininity, and the way we protect that existence is for us to stand in the gap when there is danger directed toward femininity. When he talked about um, she knows what she has created, what was brought into existence in terms of masculinity is only powerful when it embraces the existence of femininity. Anytime that you demean femininity, that means that you are not embracing it. That means that you are looking down on it. And the last thing that we want to happen is for us to continue to be in this unstable condition that we have fought to survive in for 500 plus years. I do believe that we were allowed to see this video because it is a very strong message that sheds light on the pathway that lies in front of us. It gives us clear direction as to how we are to embrace each other, feminine and masculine, but it also gives us clear direction on the necessity of disallowing anyone to put in our heads that we are the dominant force in this earth. Excuse me. So, in the end, I guess what I'm saying is that he really brought it home in terms of the way he presented femininity and masculinity. And is my desire that all of you, if not clearly understood it, at the very least, it resonated with you so that you would, so that it will always be with you, especially, hear me well, especially males, especially males. Why? Because the most resistant to it all are males, especially African males have been resistant to that. So anyway, I'm done for now. Any questions or comments in regards to that?
Grand Rising, everybody. This is Barbara. Hello?
I just say welcome home.
Thank you. As everybody was speaking, the thing I thought about is what's in our faces right now. What's in our faces right now is the murdering of and the attempted murdering of this feminine energy. Look at Gaza. Look at Sudan. Look at all the places where children who are thoughts really, and those thoughts come out of the womb of feminine energy, are being murdered and killed and starved and bombed and look at what's happening as it relates to what's in our faces here in the United States when we talk about predators and we talk about sex trafficking and what masculine energy is doing to not only disenfranchise but to crush, if you will, the feminine energy, the spirit of feminine energy, to abuse, to rape, to control. When we talk about Epstein and everybody associated with that, and Maxwell and everything associated with that, it's almost the total opposite of what this gentleman was talking about. Well, not almost, it is. It's like in our faces is that attempt to crush feminine energy, and so his presentation, his thoughts, his emotions related to putting that back into focus so that we can balance again. It helps us see that we're balancing again all of this, which seems to be something that we can't control, but in fact we are. We are helping to put it back the way it should be. And so I just saw those two ideas as he talked of what was the attempt being made right now to destroy feminine energy in a sense, not understanding that to destroy feminine energy is to destroy self. So that's just what I was thinking about. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? While Barbara was talking, I was reminded of the time when Hillary Clinton ran for president. One of the dominant reasons that I heard from the people that I interact with, especially politically, was she was more masculine than men. She presented herself as being a male as opposed to being a female, meaning that she was more engaged with the mindset of how men with the European mindset functions, as opposed to being nurturing. And a lot of people, inclusive of me, actually, even though I voted for her, I felt that she was trying to out masculine Donald Trump, if that is a word. But you understand what I'm trying to say, and that is an acquiescence to the brutal dominant power in this earth. And I mean, and that can clearly be seen when you look at, as Barbara stated, the women and children who are being targeted in Gaza. They don't care about killing the men, it's the women and children, because they're wiping out generations and the ability to bring a generation into existence. Also, I listened to Canada, Britain, and France say that they're going to recognize Palestine as a state. But there's a caveat to that. If Israel does not stop doing what it's doing, by September, we go recognize Palestine as a state. So it is not that we recognizing that it is a state. It's not that we recognizing that these are human beings. What's being said here is that this doesn't look good to the world. On the world stage, this really looks bad, because if they were serious about it, they would isolate Israel, and they have not made no attempts to do that. So it is not for the love of humanity that this is taking place. It is because of what it looks like. If it was pushed off in the corner, as it was for a while, none of them would say anything. And them of whom I speak are those who are in charge of governments in this world. It doesn't matter how many people of color who slaughtered, as long as you can do it behind the scene. If it was a care for that, then the first Holocaust was in Africa in 1904, when King Leopold murdered 15 million people. So, and in actuality, when the Germans were in the early 1900s, the Germans there in Africa, they did medical experiments on African people. They did dental experiments on African people. They test weapons on African people. Everything that was done to the Jews by Hitler was practiced and perfected in Africa on Africans, and transported from Africa by the Germans to Germany. And it only mattered when there were white people being killed, when there were Europeans being killed, when there were bogus Jews being killed. That's the only time that it mattered. Other than that, it made no difference to the world. So it is imperative that the elevation of the African femininity be allowed to flourish. And what I mean by allowed is not impeded by African men. Why? Because there are no powers that's in the quiver of Europeans that has any effect on African femininity when the masculinity is protecting the existence of femininity, and that protection does not come with a nuclear bomb. That protection comes with your actions every day. That protection comes with the way you speak to and speak of the African woman, the African femininity. When you show affection for it and recognize it for the God that it is, and recognize it as the mother, the womb of all creativity, and recognize it that of the nurturer of all life, because as was said, without recognizing that, then we are not protecting the existence of the one who has strengthened our soul, who protects our soul by birthing the wisdom and understanding that is necessary for us to overpower unrighteousness and bring into existence love and kindness, mercy, etc. I'm done. Questions, comments? Does that make sense, guys?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it does.
And my one comment to that is this push by the West, quote unquote, to basically openly conduct a genocide in Gaza by this generation of people, to me, represents really the last, well, not the last, but perhaps the last major push by this generation of sort of confused, selfish masculinity dominated by the European or Neanderthal mindset to destroy its sort of spiritual opposition, which could be described generally as femininity in the earth. And their entire goal, of course, is much bigger than Gaza, but that as a representation of their increasingly chaotic and insane attempt to destroy the thing that they think they must dominate, is, I believe, indicative of their, as we've sort of spoken about before, it's kind of like their death throes, or if that term is correct, it's their flailing around as they near the end of their own period of domination. And in some sense, they are aware of this, and they need to kind of make something happen in their minds in order to prevent this or extend their time. So what we see in the West, again, quote unquote, attempting to destroy Gaza and the Middle East at large is exactly that. It is an attempt by the confused Neanderthal masculinity of the European mindset to kill all sort of feminine principle, instinctual remembrance of harmony and balance and spirit, and effectively kill any opposition to its own dominance. Thank you.
Thank you. What gets me about that is the Arabs think they're going to be exempt when they don't realize that they're next.
And Jewish people who are Zionists, same thing.
Absolutely.
They do not understand or care at this point, but they're on the list, as is everyone and everything that is not them, quote unquote. We're all on it.
Right.
It's going to appear that I'm changing the subject, but I'm not. I think these two things are linked. I was sharing with Pastor this morning of our lesson Monday evening, and I was thinking about something Audrey said all weekend, and it kind of hit me. Uh, we were talking about the word Babel and it meaning confusion, and she said the etymology of the word means the gate of God. And at the time, I knew that that was a shift, but I didn't know what the shift was and what that meant. And as I think about it, I think that the word has had those two definitions. One is being lying dormant, and one is being causing chaos throughout the world. The way the scriptures have been interpreted through religious means has been confusing. And being confusing, it is chaotic. And we had to take a journey. Man had to take a journey, and the journey had to go back to beginning. So not only did it go back to beginning to the scriptures, it went back to beginning to Kemet to look at how all of this is brought together, meaning the African pulling it all together. And as we pull this thing together, what we began to do is to see that the scriptures were not omitted, but the scriptures had been confused, uh, maybe not intentionally, but in for the purpose of manipulation. And by unraveling that, we have made the scriptures not be confusing and chaotic anymore, but the gateway to God or the gateway to deliverance. And I think both of those things are taking place in the earth. So what I'm saying is it looks all the chaos that you guys have just explained, talked about what's going on in Gaza and whatnot is a part of that chaos. Uh, because everybody thinks, or we've been taught anyway, how holy and how religious and how godly Israel's supposed to be, and they are one of the most violent entities in the earth. They cause chaos, and what we are doing or what we're seeing is looking at Babel for what it's worth and understanding that Nimrod, uh, if there were not for Nimrod, there would be no consciousness to travel, to go explore. So it says, the connection of Nimrod to Abraham is that's where our journey starts. You are no longer a part of a group think. You are free to explore who and what you are and to see your masculine and femininity and explore that and see the value in it. And as we explore that, as we uncover it, as we learn to appreciate it and embrace it, that is the force, the energy that is stronger than what you guys have just described. Because it looks on the surface that, you think the people in Gaza are hoping and praying that some relief comes, and we are the relief. And I think just understanding what it means to be the gate of God, meaning that you are the entrance to enlightenment. What we are doing is opening up that and bringing that chaotic energy to a place of peace and harmony. So if you see what I'm talking about, maybe somebody can explain it a little better. But a lot of what's going on, if you just pick up the paper or read the news, sounds like things are just so out of control. But I think the answer is still in believing and embracing what we do and seeing the value in it. Anybody have a comment or question about that? Or does it make sense?
I think what you were describing as being born again. When you mentioned the etymology of the word, being the gates of God, and when you talk about deliverance, in order to know what deliverance is, in order to be able to truly embrace deliverance, you must return to beginning. Marvel not that I say you must be born again. Marvel not that I say that you must return to beginning, unless you're born of the water and the spirit, right? So what is it talking about? It is talking about when it says that born of the water and the spirit, the water is the fluid that the infants is suspended in, and spirit is speaking of the godly essence of the birth. So what I'm saying is that the gate, the um, the gates of God is the womb.
Hmm, okay.
Unless you return to the original womb, you won't know who you are. You won't know. You won't understand what deliverance is. If you don't return to beginning, not only will you not understand what deliverance is, you will embrace it in a wrong manner. You will think that deliverance comes at the barrel of a gun when it really doesn't. This is not what I'm talking about. That this is, if you want to look at the storyline there or the allegory there, um, the European mindset is represented by the Romans during that period, and they are seeking to control. And when you are in the midst of a group who are seeking to control by violence, then it is incumbent upon you to understand that your deliverance does not come by violence. Your deliverance comes by you returning to beginning. Your deliverance comes by you entering the spiritual womb of your origin in order for you to see that you are Elohim, that you are the source of deliverance for all of humanity in the earth. And the storyline that deals with the Tower of Babel and Nimrod is the same storyline as it is with what is attributed to Jesus about being born again. And you when it was communicated to me that the tower is talking about elevating yourself to the place where you can enter the spiritual womb again, where you go back to where you started from. And the reason it says, again, the reason you need to return to beginning is because that's your origin. Yes, we are in 2025, but our origin is not the day that we were born. Our origin is much, much, much older than that and encompasses much, much more than a physical birth. So I see both of those as the same, but I also see the discussion that we were having about femininity being the protector of our soul, and masculinity being protecting the essence of femininity. I see all of that tied together.
Yeah, I agree.
So anyway, the concept of being born again takes on even more meaning than it did when we looked at it and understood that it was taking us back to Cush. So anyway,
Yes.
questions, comments?
Hey, Pastor. I
Yes, sir.
have a question, but I'm scared to. I ain't scared. I don't want to bring it out, and it might take us in a different way, or it might not have any meaning to what we're talking about. So I just keep it and probably talk to you later about it.
Okay. Well, if you feel comfortable doing it that way, that's fine. Okay.
I feel comfortable doing it that way because I don't want to mess up nobody's theory.
No,
I mess up.
no,
Sir?
Charles, you won't mess up. You won't mess up anything. But like I said, if you don't feel comfortable, then we do it the way you feel comfortable with. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Now I want to know the question, Charles.
Me too.
All right, Charles.
Okay. All right. Now, we were talking about, Babylon when Ron had mentioned it, and men were trying to, the European were trying to, I just say they were trying to get to God their way, and trying to come to Him the way they want to come to Him. Okay, now they changing the script now. Why is they keep going to space? Because they're using rockets and everything, keep going to space, and they're trying to put power in space their way. So give me an understanding why European is racing to space and trying to put people on another planet, because they're saying this planet, all the stuff here is being used up, and it's too many people being populated on this planet. So why they still trying to reach space and everything else their way again?
Okay. Audrey, you wanted to know what the question is, so you go ahead and respond. Now, seriously, go ahead.
I could give it a shot.
You sound like Charles now.
It makes me think that I was listening to this YouTube short. This young man from South Africa was on there, and he was talking about Ubuntu. You know, the concept that GC always talks about, the I am because we are. But he was talking about the concept of Ubuntu, and he was saying white people can't have Ubuntu because in their whole existence, basically they came to steal, kill, and destroy. Is basically what he was saying about white people. So they can't have Ubuntu. So I think one of the reasons they want to go to space is because they don't have Ubuntu. They'd rather spend their money building rockets and chasing that kind of nebulous dream than to use their money to feed the hungry and create a peaceful world. They just want accolades for themselves. They want themselves to be thought of as you know, doing the impossible, and they want all the accolades. They don't really care about people. They don't really care about the earth, which is why they're trying to get away from it. But I think it's that they don't understand or inculcate the idea, the concept of Ubuntu, which is kindness and love for your fellow human being. Anyway, that's what I think.
Okay. All right. Nick, were you going to say something?
I could say many things. I think that's a good place for me to leave it, unless we want to bring it up tomorrow or something.
Okay. We can bring it up tomorrow because when you say you can say many things, I know what that means. That's another class. No, seriously, I first of all, Joe, I don't see white people looking for God at all. I don't see that. I see them making themselves God. I see them taking the essence of God that they found when they interacted with Africans, and they saw an opportunity to play on that and make it use it to their advantage to minimize the power that God is. I see this as the African being hospitable, and that hospitality that comes from God being taken advantage of. And by the time the African realized what was happening, because the African being kind and embracing all of humanity, and seeing a group of people who are in need of being civilized, were taken advantage of, and the idea of them looking for God is a foreign thing. They look to create God because they create in their image and likeness, and you can cool believe that if they start mining meteorites and other planets, that they're going to be taking people of color to other planets to do the mining for them. So I see it in that, from that perspective, that they have no affinity for God at all. The God that they have an affinity for is money. So if we want to pick up that tomorrow, or Nicholas or someone else want to go ahead and speak to that, then we can do that. But otherwise, we can definitely pick it up tomorrow. But that's up to you guys.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. All right, Ron.
All righty. We will stick a pin in it till tomorrow morning.
Okay.
All right. Have a great day to everybody. Enjoyed it today. Great session.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank